All right, everyone, it's time for a little bit of a celebration. 100 million views on YouTube as of sometime last night. I was asleep at the time, so it could have been around midnight, could have been 1 a.m. Not sure. In fact, the world may never know whether it was on the 28th or the 29th that it actually ticked over to the 9th digit. Regardless, I would just like to say a huge thank you to everyone who supported the channel, the YouTube channel during this time. As well as on other platforms now too. I'll get a little bit into that. When I first started out on YouTube, it was basically just bumming around, having a lark essentially, and I didn't have any particular goal in mind. It wasn't until years later when I started generating a little bit of traction that I thought, maybe I could have a large audience like here on YouTube. Maybe that's possible, but I never expected the audience to be this large. In all honesty, I never expected to have over 250,000 subscribers. I figured after years of effort, someday I might hit 100,000, and that was basically the limit I had in mind. I remember one of my early and often detractors, actually. He was he's sort of trolling too. I like the dude. Bobby Jones, he predicted that I'd stall out around 55, 60,000 subs. That was during the 2016 election, and fairly quickly it went past that. It's soaring up towards 300,000. It'll probably hit that before the end of the year, but 100 million views. Never had that in mind either. I figured, I'd be lucky to ever get a few million. In all honesty, when I started on YouTube, the overall audience pool was so much smaller, the idea of having this many views was unthinkable, basically. Even a large corporation, even a very popular user wouldn't have hit 100 million. It had to have been years into YouTube existing that anyone had this total of views. And so I'm proud. I am happy. But then there's something else to be said, which is that I would be a lot happier if I were still just a YouTuber hitting this goal. A little bit of it is kind of sad because I can no longer just be a YouTuber. For content creators who make more serious, like not just pure entertainment, but content-related news and politics, things that can matter for large swaths of the world population, it's become a more dangerous world on big tech sites. I wish it were just, hey, on YouTube alone, without any other site presences or anything, I'm hitting 100 million views. Instead, I'm also talking about all these other sites. Like I'm headed up towards, 8 or 9 million views on Minds.com. Everything that I make gets collated out there. Sometimes I post independently there as well. It's a good platform. On Gab, I think there's about 15,000 people following me there. Even Twitter, we won't talk about that because fuck Twitter, basically. It's so censorship-ridden. At this point, I'm using it as a notification machine more than anything. I don't care if I get banned on Twitter at this point, really. And on BitChute, certainly. Being the #1 uploader there, just hit 1 million views on that platform a couple days ago. Getting up towards 30,000 subscribers. That's more views and subscribers than I had on YouTube in the first 7 years of using the platform. I consider that a major achievement. I'm not joking about that, and I think that the site has infinite room for even further improvement. Steemit and all of these other sites, things are quickly moving now. And I wish that it were the simplistic social media of like a half decade ago, where if you weren't blatantly breaking the rules, blatantly flaunting them, defaming people and putting porn of yourself or something on YouTube, that you knew you were welcome there. The rules were very straightforward. You knew that you were protected if you had any audience at all. You would be able to appeal things. You're not just randomly going to get kicked off. You knew what specifically was or was not against the rules. We now exist on a YouTube where some videos end up in a limited state gray area, where sometimes people are removed without getting a single strike, where people get brigaded and it can take days to restore your material. That happened to me. It took 3 days when the zombie algorithm YouTube employs marked one of my videos as hate speech, and it wasn't legitimate. I appealed it. The appeal was accepted and the video was restored. It was because of the fucking description of the video included a line from the New York Times of all things. When that happened, it took 3 days to restore it. If I was a streaming YouTuber, it would be a big problem. And they've incentivized trolling on the platform again for after years of largely having no problem with this. Because such attacks were totally ineffective, they become partially effective again. Yes, you can inconvenience larger creators by using bots and apps and other things to mass raid their videos into oblivion, cross-platform, forcing them to take potentially days out of their life to get themselves re-platformed because the attack is inauthentic. It's a bad faith attack. Nobody ever even faces repercussions for doing this. So I'm very proud, I'm very happy, and I thank you all, especially those that have been supporting me financially so I can put so much effort into the content. You know, in all honesty, I wouldn't be able to do that if I weren't making some degree of money doing this. That's why I use Patreon, now cryptocurrency. People buy my books if they want to support me. Book blogs, you know, they work fairly well. I think at this point the WordPress blog gets more actual traffic than the Blogspot one. Despite the fact that I started on Blogspot like, shit, my first Blogspot entry for my non-literary blog, God, I think it dated to 2008. Again, I've been there for 10 years too, another Google service. Great at the time, still could be great, but now people are getting deplatformed on blogs too. Tumblr just changed its TOS. Tumblr, where people post like pictures of naked people covered in blood and call it art, is like, oh, well, now we got a conscience now, we could crack down on offensive speech. Yeah, that's the internet of today. So I don't know if there will be a time when I hit 200 million YouTube views. I'd love to. I'd love to hit 1 billion views. I'd love to hit 1 million subs and have a nice big gold play button sitting on the wall. The fact is, though, these sites are becoming, over time, a bit less welcoming, and the big worry is that they'll destabilize themselves, collapse, and then nobody will use them. They'll go MySpace mode. In which case, it's like, oh yeah, I've got my YouTube play button up here. Well, it's a relic of a past era. I don't want that to happen. I just wanted to be a YouTuber. Now, of course, I'm celebrating this, and it's kind of bittersweet, because at the same time, I almost feel more celebratory about hitting some major milestone on like a BitChute or a Minds at this point. There's more, I think, because there's more connection to these brands, because it's more assured that long haul I will still be able to use them unless they disappear entirely. There is a little bit of an element of increased brand loyalty, I would say. So I would hope. My hope is that over the coming year or two, as the paradigm switches over, maybe the social panic begins to ebb a little bit, and these social media firms do what is right and stop oppressing their own user base. They ease up on being draconian. They change their TOS quietly back to what they used to be. They get more cut and dry again so people know what to expect. That's my biggest hope, because then these sites will remain around. I'm highly competitive. Look, 100 million views on my videos, that's quite a few. Yeah, very, very few people will ever hit that mark. I'm very happy about it, but it's like, well, at the same time, I am on a site that could, I could get brigaded off the site tomorrow. Maybe YouTube just says, oh, this dude defended Alex Jones one too many times. Whoops, we pressed the wrong button, he's gone. Yeah, we'll wait a week and then maybe restore him. Some rogue employee deleted Donald Trump's Twitter that time for an hour. It can happen. Absolutely it can. That's about all. Peace out.